Hey everybody, John Clark here back with another YouTube Live. I'm here to answer your questions in a live Q&A format. It's been a few weeks, just got back from vacation, but I'm excited to jump in and answer your questions. So when you're jumping in, just come and ask your questions in the comment section. I will answer them one by one. I'll bring your question up on the screen and away we go. So let me know your questions here in the comments. Little background about me if it's your first time here during one of these lives or meeting me, so to speak. My name is John Clark. I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor and originally from Virginia. Now I live in San Francisco and started my first practice in 2013 in San Francisco and learned a lot of things the hard way and started teaching therapists about business. I've now been teaching therapists about business ever since then through this business private practice workshop. I'm also on my third practice, which I'm building here in San Francisco. So, yeah, you can learn more about me at privatepracticeworkshop.com. But for now, let's get into the question. Stardust Knights says, I'm an independent contractor and started my own private practice part time a year ago. I was getting word of mouth referrals and finally launched a business website and am blown away by the response. That's awesome. So you're getting good supply and demand, right? You're getting good demand, I should say, for your services, and you're getting some traction with word of mouth. You can also get some major traction, perhaps, with your website. So that's fantastic. It sounds like you're well on your way. Looks like you got another question here. So this person says, "How do I know I'm ready to make the jump to full time?" I struggle with knowing my marketing strategy is solid, how to tell that business is steady enough for me to leave my stable job. Yeah, this is a great question and one that I think I can definitely answer. The first thing I would say is you want to build a cash reserve of 3 or ideally 6 months of your expenses. So you're going to build this up in your personal finances in a savings account, maybe a high interest savings account like a money market account. I use one with Capital One for what it's worth, the 360 money market account. So you build up about 6 months of your expenses because you're about to become full-time self-employed, which is a big leap. And what you're going to do is you're going to build up that cash. You're also going to calculate exactly how much money you need to make for your practice to get off the ground. And that includes your salary as well as replacing your benefits. So you need to replace things like your health insurance and a 401k or Roth IRA or whatever retirement investment vehicle you want to use in this case. You want to meet with ideally like a certified financial planner to talk through this stuff and make a detailed plan of your finances. That's the biggest thing. And then once you've got a steady caseload of, let's say, 15 clients a week, something like that, you're going to need to just make the leap into full time. How do you know your marketing strategy is solid? Well, you're going to want to have your website off the ground. You're going to want to be generating clients through your website. You want to study your metrics from your website. So you want to study things like within your Google Analytics, you're going to study your users and sessions within Google Analytics. I'm going to take these out. Don't need them. And you're going to be basically figuring out how many website visitors do I have per week? And then out of those visitors, how many reach out for a consult or how many reach out to my practice? And then out of those, how many become clients? Then you'll know when you have stability, with that stuff that you can pretty safely leave your full-time job. So for instance, if you have 100 website users per week, users is the same as visitors. If you have 100 website visitors in a week, and out of those 100, 5 people reach out to your practice each week. Out of those 5, let's say 2 convert on average. Okay. So you're getting 2 client inquiries a week, something like that. Then you just need to know and look at out of your caseload, let's say you have 15 a week in your caseload and you get 2 inquiries per week. It's going to depend on your attrition, your retention and attrition of your caseload. So you're going to want to see, you're going to say, see like when a client comes, what's the average number of sessions a client will do in my practice, right? Is it 4? Is it 6? Is it 12? Is it 24? Who knows? Depends on you, the market you're in, depends on the kind of client you serve, et cetera, et cetera. So you just want to try to find an average number of sessions. So you might look at, for instance, like 10 clients and see how many sessions they did right, on average, and then find the average of that. Yeah. So some did 12, some did 2, some did 24. You find the average, and you might say, like, okay, clients stay on average 10 weeks or 10 sessions. Um, this also really has to do with your ability to set expectations with your clients. So when someone is going to become a client, I highly suggest that you kind of ask them or recommend that they start with weekly therapy. You might even just say, "Hey, I work with clients only on a weekly basis only. So when you're either in therapy or you're out of therapy." You might also say, well, yeah, I work with therapists on a weekly or I work with clients on a weekly basis. And the reason is twofold. One, because you're going to get the best outcomes when you do therapy consistently. And number two, it just helps us to organize ourselves and have that same locked in slot every week. So yeah, that's kind of how you do it. And then at some point you just go, you just kind of make the leap and you don't look back. Get help as well. You can get help from someone like me. Our fully booked program would be a great fit for you. You can go to privatepracticeworkshop.com, read more about fully booked. That'd be a great program for you to make sure that this is going to go smoothly. um, Alcia Freeman says, thanks for doing this live. What's the best way to build a caseload? My favorite way to build a caseload is using my fully booked method. It's a 5-step method that relies heavily on Google. And why do we rely on Google? Because we want to get in front of people who are searching for a therapist right now. So this is going to be a combination of a strong, compelling, high converting website, getting that in front of both paid and organic Google traffic, growing your email list, growing your content marketing. And over time, you have this machine, meaning your website, that's just generating clients for you week after week after week after week. It's a beautiful thing. Maria is back. She says, I remember you mentioning the need for therapists to have their own YouTube channel, but I can't help but be nervous about making that jump. How did you manage any anxieties around this? Well, I don't think I suggested therapists needing to have their own YouTube channel. I think you can. For me, we have a separate channel for our practice. For me, it's a very long-term play, in part because YouTube is owned by Google. I want to do all things to please Google. So YouTube can be great for generating revenue on its own. Like if you have a channel like mine where you're making money from ads and affiliate links and stuff like that, that can be great. You can just make money from Google directly. Or you can make videos about mental health, upload them to YouTube, and then embed them from YouTube onto your website. That's going to help with your SEO. It's kind of like replacing your blog with doing videos instead. We kind of do both, but that's kind of how that works. Now, in terms of how did you manage anxieties around this? It's a good question. That's a hard one for me because I don't find it too scary. I don't know why. I just jumped into it. I started doing it. I will be honest, I have people that are really nice, like you guys, who come and ask questions and are nice to me. And then I have people who are jerks and say mean things and leave me nasty comments and are judgmental, right? Or think, who's this guy? Who is he to be making videos about private practice? So you're going to get reactions kind of all across the board. Sometimes you have to have a little bit thicker skin or develop thicker skin, I think, for that. In terms of managing the anxieties, I just usually think to myself, well, what do I fear could go wrong? And if I imagine that fear, how would I deal with that fear if it did in fact come true? That's how I think of it. Yeah. And then if I can deal with the potential outcome of it going wrong, then I'll do the thing. I kind of use this with any fear in my life. It's called fear setting. So yeah, I hope that helps. Maria asked, let me know if you have more questions about YouTube or dealing with anxieties. That's a really good question. All right, you guys are putting me to work today. Amber says, I'm starting my practice during COVID. I'll be doing strictly telehealth. What should I put as my address? Should you put on my website since I'm working from home? Yeah, definitely don't put your home address. So you'll want to either have like a PO box, or maybe you even have just a therapist friend who has an office and you could use their office address, or you could pay them a little bit to use their office address. That's what I would do, because you usually are going to need one for things like Google My Business, Yelp, paperwork, stuff like that. So yeah, either PO box or another therapist's physical address. It's a good question. All right, next one. Thinking of starting a home therapy office, trying to weigh pros and cons of using my home for business versus renting an office. finding space at an affordable rate is tough in my area and very few sublets. Yeah, then I would go with the home office route. I mean, this is also a tax deductible expense. So if you're writing off a portion of your house, that's a portion of your rent or mortgage that can be written off. So this is great. Even if you don't use your home office full time, maybe you use a home office sometimes and you use a therapy office sometimes. Well, it can still be really great to have a home office that you use at times so that you can write that off. You can also write off things like, your internet, your cell phone, things like that. I mean, there's a million things you can usually write off with your business. So there's just so many advantages to um, uh, yeah to doing that, to being a business owner. You can write off a lot. Amber says, "Is $1,000 a good price for a website? She is great at website designing." I think it's a fine price. I've spent anywhere from, $500 to $5,000 on a website. It all depends on ROI, right? So it depends on return on investment. Well, how much money am I going to make from this thing? If someone says, I'm going to make you a $20,000 website, but that $20,000 is going to make you $100,000 a year for the next 5 years. So a $20,000 website is going to make me $500,000. It's a pretty good ROI. You're usually not going to go wrong by spending a lot on a website. So don't be shy. Just go for it. It's one of your biggest expenses. So just go for it. Most therapists spend too little on their website and they have a crappy website that looks like a $50 website because it is. So next question. I'll be here for maybe 10 more minutes, guys. So keep the questions coming. This is fun. My site launched March 1st, and with your tips, I'm top 5 on the first page of Google when I type EMDR in my area. Wow, that's amazing. I don't know what tips I gave you, but I'm pretty happy about that. But I rank 15 under those terms on Google Maps. Any tips on how to boost my rank on Maps? Yeah, I have a lot of tips. So Maps is what you're talking about with Google My Business. Google My Business, and every therapist should have a Google My Business listing. This is free traffic, free money, free clients. Just go to business.google.com and then fill out your listing. So all you want to do with that is, I'm going to pull one up right now, business.google.com. So the main things you want to look for with this is you want to make sure you have a filled out listing and you filled out every category. So address, phone number, all the hours, all sorts of things. Every single category should be filled out. You should be asking colleagues in your area, near your zip code or in your zip code, for reviews on your Google My Business listing. This is going to majorly help the ranking of your listing in the map section. So ask them for reviews. This is huge, huge, huge. And again, they need to be in your area. Okay. What else can you do? You can upload really nice photos. You can upload videos. You can also make one post per week, or approximately one post per week, in order to boost your listing. So whatever blank Google gives, you want to fill it out, is the way I look at it. Yeah, that's how I kind of see it. All right. Yeah, this is huge. And I think I have a video, I'm pretty sure I have a video somewhere about Google My Business. So make sure you check that out as well. Cool. Next question. An old coworker was sued by the company I currently work for when they decided to leave and pursue private practice full time. Any advice on how I can leave my contracting job on good terms if and when my own private practice picks up? Yeah, I mean, the first thing you need to know is basically how, if you sign a non-compete clause with them. And the thing is, and I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, so please don't sue me. But the thing is, in most cases, a non-compete clause is really hard to enforce. Basically what it says is, if I have a practice here, then you can't, be at my practice in a while and then just create your own practice next door, take all the clients or whatever, steal my industry secrets. Now, if you're a contractor, it's a little hard to do, right? If you're a contractor, it's like the same way that if I pay someone to paint my house, that's a contractor. And then I'm like, well, I'm going to have you sign a non-compete so you can't paint the house next door to me for some reason, right? It's going to be hard to navigate. What I would say is if you're really worried about it and if you have signed a non-compete, then you should meet with a lawyer and pay them their outrageous fee so that you don't get sued. So meet with a lawyer just to be safe. Heather Waters, Heather, thanks for your comment, by the way, on our other video. We made a comment about, or we made a video about what you can do, how to start your private practice while you're still in graduate school. And Heather left me some good comments. So thank you for that. Heather says, I'm new to your channel, so I want to know what got you interested in doing therapy and how it has changed your life. Oh man, this is a big one. So my story is similar to a lot of people. You know, I was a really tough teenager. I had a tough time as a teenager and got into a fair bit of trouble along the way. So I ended up in counseling with a counselor who changed my life and helped me turn my life around. I was an ADHD kid growing up and I got a lot of, yeah, that was a big challenge growing up. And so psychology was the first thing I felt like I was good at and that I was super interested in. And I had a really tough time in high school, but by the time I got to college, I started to really teach myself how to learn and fall in love with psychology. And I've always loved helping people, so it was perfect. Yeah, I've been in therapy my whole life and considered an essential part of our training. So I encourage you guys to be in therapy at all times. I would never go to a therapist that's either not in therapy now or isn't usually doing their own, you know, therapy work out there. This is essential. Yeah, it's changed my life in many ways. And now I get to help you guys. So I'm a therapist, you know, and I still have a full caseload or a practicing caseload here. But I get to help you guys and teach therapists about business. And that's a really cool intersection of all my interests because I really love business and entrepreneurship. So, yeah, thanks, Heather. This is another kind of personal question. Maria says, how do you cope with the criticism or the hate when you put yourself out there as a therapist? Yeah, I've dealt a lot with this for whatever reason. I think I'm a pretty nice guy, but not everyone thinks I am. Um, so basically, I've actually made a video about this on our channel called like how to deal with haters or something like that. Um, it's not easy, and I don't think it's gotten all that much easier. I just try to ignore it, to be honest. For whatever reason, therapists are really judgmental people. As a sweeping rule, therapists can be very judgmental, kind of passive aggressive sometimes. I don't know why we are that way, but sometimes we can be. And so if you like set your fee and your fee is higher than other people, then some therapists will judge that or criticize that or whatever. And I find that very unfortunate, you know? Um, so yeah, I think you try to shrug it off. You try to find a few allies that you can really be close with and stay close with. Um, yeah, and you try to focus on the good. If I have 9 comments that are all positive, but then one really negative one, which is common on my YouTube channel, I try to just focus on the positive ones. Although again, I'll admit that the negative one always stands out and is kind of hard to deal with. Yeah, it's a really good question. Natural for Life says I registered with Psych today. Was concerned with the price I set was probably too high. I'm mostly getting insurance clients and not private pay. How do I attract more private pay clients? Um, there's really no way to attract more private pay clients because let's face it, who wants to pay out of pocket? Not me, but I do because the best therapists are usually, especially in urban areas, not on insurance panels, right? So I kind of have to just roll with that. Instead of saying, how do I attract more private pay clients? You just need to attract more clients in general. And then when you do your initial phone call with them, you explain that you're private pay. You explain that here's how the super bill process works. It's a very easy process. So if my full fee is 150, you can usually get reimbursed for some portion of that. So it's not a full 150. So yeah, you can't really market more to private pay people. You just need to market to more people, knowing that some people in there will be private pay. Yeah. And again, if you want to learn about marketing, we've got a lot of videos on this channel. And then we have my fully booked training program that you can learn about at privatepracticeworkshop.com. So that'd be a great place for you to go is to our homepage and learn more about fully booked. LCS says, is it worth paying a professional for SEO? It can be, it depends on your area. If you're in a big urban area, yeah, it's probably worth paying for it. If you're in anywhere else, a non-urban area, then then you could do it yourself, or even better, you could join Fully Booked and we'll teach you how to do it. We'll teach you how to do everything you need to market your practice. Yeah. Heather just saying, that's awesome. That's why I'm pursuing. We just want to help others like others have helped us, and no problem. Yeah. Thanks again, Heather, and thanks for being here. For all you guys, if you're enjoying this channel and also my podcast, please share it with people. We put this out for free. We try to help you guys for free as best we can. We do have our paid programs, but help me promote this. So send your favorite video or podcast episode to like a few friends or your graduate school like email list or who knows what. But anything you can do to help me grow our channels would really be amazing. Stardust Knight says, I really enjoy your channel and podcast. It's been invaluable to my professional growth, and I learned so much through your interviews too. Oh, thank you for that. That's really, really nice. It means a lot to me. This is why I do it. Yeah. Awesome. Got like 3 more minutes if anyone else wants to sneak another question in there. And then we will set our next we will set our next date here as we're speaking. Dates in advance with you guys. Speaking of which, when are we going to do it? Let's see. We're going to do it next Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific. That would be 4 p.m. Eastern. YouTube live. 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. That's what we're going to do. Best way to learn about a super bill? The best way to learn about a super bill, there's not much to it. It's a simple form. And you're just going to fill out, diagnosis, office code, CPT code, and all that stuff and send it to the client. And then the client sends it in. Yeah. There's really not much to it. If you have an EHR like Simple Practice, then Simple Practice can create your super bills for you. How do we network in a non-sleazy way? Well, you just serve first. You just meet people with the intention to create genuine relationships first. Ask them about things outside of work and business and being a therapist. Who are you? Where are you from? What are you interested in outside of work? Do you have kids? Do you have a dog? Stuff like that. Just get to know them. And then if you want to take it a step further, find ways to serve people. Find ways to make yourself useful to them and serve them. That's how you network. If you go into networking asking for something, no one's going to like you. That's extreme. People might still like you, but you're going to have, at a baseline, you're just going to have that sense of like, yeah, being the person to always ask. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I've got to wrap up. It was a quick one today. I just got back from vacation, but I'm happy to see you guys again. We'll do our next one, like I said, Thursday, the 1st at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to put that in your calendar and bring your friends. So we'll do this again. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys again for being here. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.